Blank Beats Production. Blank Beats Production. Blank Beats Production. Blank Beats Production.
Calling out all my nerds, freaks, and geeks. It's mob time.
Don't tune in cause it's showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap food rhyme, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another Blurred Mob production. I'm your host, Foop. I'm joined by Ron, and I'm also joined by Antoine. If this is your first time checking us out, make sure you follow us on the socials. We're on Instagram at the Blurred Mob Pod. We're on Twitter at the Blurred Mob. And you can find us on TikTok and Facebook at the Blurred Mob Podcast.
Oh shoot! The water bounced off the ice and hit my phone.
Oh, okay.
Because I was trying to do the long part. Keep going. My bad. My bad. I'm disrupting the
I
service.
was like, what's going on? But if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching this on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, make sure you like and share this live stream. And if you're checking us out on the audio version, make sure you hit that follow button if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, so we can all continue to get these wonderful updates from the mob. And check out our recent episodes on our link tree, linktr.ee/the Blurred Mob Pod releases. We released episode 42 last week. If you missed it, our video game industry talk for Black History Month took place last Friday, so that is available to rewatch. And just check out our other content, mob reviews, our game streams, our other mobs talks, and get caught up for the next episode. Now, before I get into why we are here today, I do want to point something out. Antoine, I was watching you eat that cupcake during the pre-show.
See me?
What you mean? I can see you. Yeah, I can see you.
I didn't know we
Was
could
it
see
good?
each other.
He was devouring it, wasn't
He
it?
was tearing that cupcake up.
he ate it in 3 bites. That's a good looking cupcake.
I was like, every
This
time he
cupcake is
step-
so good.
I'm like, every time he step in this live stream, he's eating something. Like, what is it about a
Well,
live
dinner
stream that makes you
time.
hungry?
It's dinner
It is,
time.
man. I went to the gym right after work. I ain't ate nothing.
So the first thing you get is a cupcake, no protein.
I gotta replenish
shake,
my.
no
I ain't have time to make all
protein.
that. I gotta replenish my sugars.
At least mix some protein, vanilla protein.
That what I say. Put the powder on, just scrape the icing
Yeah,
off and
just
put the
put it on
protein
there.
powder on the
Just
top.
scoop it up, put it in your ice cream or something.
He
mix
went
it
to
up.
the gym. That's skinny folks' privilege. Go to the gym, come back. The first thing you put in your mouth is a cupcake.
Okay, disclaimer: I wouldn't have done that if I had time for something else. But
I did that while I was fat. I don't care what you say. My big self go to the gym and still
Well,
eat.
Ryan, we know you gonna eat regardless, whether you
I'll
skinny,
eat
medium
regard-
size,
I'll-
big as
When I was
fuck.
in my
big-
medium
don't
size,
matter.
I was eating bad. When I'm big, I'm eating bad.
We
did
know
not know
about
y'all could
you.
see me.
We know about your ministry.
Look, bro. I have a theory. When people talk about living a long life, it ain't about what you eat. I know old folks who smoke, drink, and all that all till this day. It's about if you stressed out or if you're happy. If you're happy, you're gonna live a long life.
I just
Who
feel
makes
like
you happy?
I just
Who makes
feel
you
like there's a
happy?
lot of medical research to butte this thing.
Okay, and I know folks in their 80s till this day smashing KFC, smashing that good Popeyes chicken.
people
And
just got it like that though.
Yeah,
That's
some
what I'm
people
saying.
just got it, and you think you got
But
it.
do you have it like that?
I think as long as you're not stressed out, you're gonna be all right. Stress is the leading cause of death. That's the
Well,
poison.
this cupcake
Okay,
is
and
releasing my
behind it
stress.
is KFC.
Right next, right under that on the list.
Causes of
So-
death. 1, stress. 2, KFC.
It's some cupcakes, Antoine. It ain't the KFC.
The cupcakes is under KFC. But all right. So we are here today. We are still doing our Black History Month celebration. So today we're going to be talking about the anime, manga, and comic book industry. 2 weeks ago, we did the TV film industry. Last Friday, as previously mentioned, we did the video game industry. And next Wednesday, for our final episode of the month, we're going to be discussing the music industry. So make sure.
Keep that picture up. Is that Antoine in the top right-hand corner? Did he slide himself in there?
You know what?
Where do
All
you
right.
see Antoine in this picture?
In the top right-hand corner by the S in events.
You know
That
that
is
ain't
not
me.
Antoine.
Who is
That's
that?
so crazy. It's another black male. And apparently to you,
This
y'all
is-
look alike.
This is so
Y'all
bad.
do. Y'all do.
That's
Y'all-
so crazy.
I have seen this picture like 15 times. Somebody, is that Antoine in the corner?
You know I ain't
Next
put
up-
myself on there.
Is Antoine in the
That'd be so funny if I did. And had I thought about it,
Slid himself up in there. Nobody knows.
had I thought about it,
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Well, what was I about to say? If you're watching this episode and you haven't seen the previous 2 episodes, make sure you go and check those out for those great discussions. And then make sure you come back next week for the music industry discussion. So
Mhm.
let's get it started. So the first thing we want to do before we get into the discussion, I just want to go around the room and everybody recognize some of their peers or notable black figures in the anime, manga, and comic book industry that they would like to bring to light or recognize, you know.
So I forgot that we were supposed to do comics, so I didn't really look into comics. So I hope you got that covered, food. But for anime, in terms of peers, because it's a Japanese based industry, I would say that the peers in the anime industry that I want to celebrate are more so like the cosplayers and the content creators who continue to expand the community who enjoys anime. So obviously we got RDC World. Obviously we got King Vader. Obviously we got the folks who make clothing and cosmetics. We got to do Soul King. We got to do Taylor from Oh My Senpai. We got to do Jordan from Hypeland. We also got to celebrate the amazing cosplayers like Kiera Please, like all the folks who just continue to let that community grow so that black nerds can feel welcome. All of them can get a shout out from me. Just being honest. See them at DreamCon. They made that event amazing. Shout out to all of them.
Did you have anybody, Antoine?
Are we just doing real people? Or are we doing anime characters? Are we doing
It's real people.
okay? Well, Ryan hit a lot for me. A special shout out to those the black community that create, like, y'all know, y'all be seeing on social media, the black people that create their own like black anime character designs. Shout
Hmm.
out to those
Oh
people. They be
yeah.
receiving a lot of hate,
The
like for
artists and
real.
stuff.
Yeah, they receive a lot of hate, and I'd be like, y'all calm down. Oh
But
my
the
god.
cosplayers too.
Yeah.
Some of those cosplays do be I what's
I'm
old
just talking
girl
about the
name?
hate that comes directly from the character being
Ooh.
Make sure to hit that Kofi link, donate. Um
If you would like to
we,
support the mob, we need to get.
some of us are not able to do a live stream from a laptop nor desktop. We have to do it from our phones. So, them Verizon plans, them T-Mobile plans, they getting high, so therefore
Hey,
we can
that the
donate to the
five
mob.
that $5 go a long way. But while we wait for Antoine to come back, um, on the comic book side, I would like to recognize the late Dwayne McDuffie, born February 20th, 1962, and passed February 21st, 2011. He is an American writer of comic books and television, known for his work on the Static Shock series, Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, Justice League Doom, which is in my top 10 DC animated movies, as well as All Star Superman. He also worked on Ben 10 Alien Force. Ryan, fun fact.
I like Ben 10.
And to add to your list, because I also wanted to recognize the black creators in the anime community, specifically the clothing, because y'all know I like clothes. I will spend the bag on some clothes. But Ryan mentioned Soul King, Hypeland, On My Senpai. I also want to give a shout out to Von Six, that makes anime clothing as well. And that was my only other one.
Dope.
So we
Dope.
got a comment from Galvin Jack. Shout out to the Blurb Mob for creating a space for black nerds. Thank you. And I guess that's what Antoine was getting at before he dropped out, about the communities and everything. But going back to those cosplayers, like, yeah, shout out to the cosplayers and the artists that continue to draw and um cosplay these characters despite all the hate and all of the discourse that we get with, oh, this character isn't traditionally black, or oh, their hair doesn't look like this, or oh, their skin tone and their body type, and all of the other like nuances that they point out. Like, damn, can we just enjoy the cosplay? Can we not all enjoy the anime?
yeah,
I,
that's what I'm saying.
honestly, I never understood those complaints because here's the funny thing. The anime came from Japan. So if it's a white person complaining, there's a higher chance that that character is Asian before they're white, if we're being honest. So you doing it wrong too.
Yes, the
Technically, everybody doing it wrong at San Diego Comic Con and all these other events.
hello.
Look, and y'all body proportions don't match, and it's honestly the only way you're gonna be built like these characters in fairy tales if you had surgery. So
Gotta get
everybody.
BBL. You gotta get
Uh,
BBLs to look like them folks in fairy
Look,
tale.
but breast enhancements, augmentation, you need everything to look like a girl from Fairy Tale.
Yeah.
Or One Piece, you gonna have to cut some ribs
Y'all gotta
out.
get on. Y'all gotta get on that stretcher to be them folks with One Piece.
yeah, you got to get a knee extension.
Yeah.
Look, or cut your legs off and just have a huge torso. Look, man. But shout out to the cosplayers because I know they go through a lot, but even just seeing them like walking around DreamCon and they have those amazing outfits that you see they put effort into. Like when they bring that art to life, I'm always astounded when I see a great cosplay.
Yeah.
Always.
For real. And we always, what I love about DreamCon, what I love about Black cosplayers specifically, is that they always put some type of swag into it. It's not just putting on a costume. It's always some type of like, we always, I guess through all of these industries, even when it comes to like video games, what I love about us the most is that we always throw some swag in it. We always throw the culture in it. You know, we always give it that oomph, you know.
A little extra spin on it.
And that's what I love the most about the fact, like the people that we name that do the clothing, like the style of clothing that we wear, like the street clothing and everything, and integrating those anime elements into it. So now it's not just a shirt with an anime character on it. It's actually something that's like, hey, I would buy this from like a high-end brand store. Or
Exactly.
you can feel good like wearing it. Like it's not a t-shirt. Like Soul King, the material that he uses, top tier.
Man, I saw, and he getting some free marketing off of me because I got that Bleach necklace from him. I saw that he made another one from another character in Bleach for Uryu, and I was like, when did he drop this? Now I need to buy a late DreamCon ticket so I can go see him because I'd never make it to his store drops. I gotta get that. Look, when he got another store drop, just let me know.
Just
I
follow
got
me.
you.
We gotta have it this. Well, it's too late now.
What?
You thought you was gonna get me. You got me.
About what?
You told me you was gonna tell me when your taxes drop so I can get that hoodie.
Not your taxes. That's so crazy.
I'm gonna make it. You want me to make it your birthday gift? Your birthday coming
and
up.
he ain't selling it. They done now. That's besides the point. We'll come back.
Dang. Oh, it was. Oh. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna find something else. He gonna drop something else. We gonna come back.
Your birthday until April. Just tell me what you want, and I'll hopefully can get that to you beforehand.
I will make sure of that. Thank you, sir. But all right. Did anybody want to recognize anybody else in the anime, manga, or comic book industry? Oh, and shout out to the dub actors, the black dub voice actors in anime.
Yeah.
I don't typically watch dub, but
they make it funny. I'll say that. Sometimes they do make it funny.
I just like that we're in the space, that we can we can do things like that. Just going back to the fact that it's not our culture, but to be able to participate and partake in it and be part of creating it is dope. So shout out to them.
Yeah, and I was gonna add someone even like the content creators who more so just make the funny content. Like obviously it's them trying to get their money up and everything else, but someone like Pierre Steps, like he do like those real life versus anime, like the rock paper scissors and add the extreme stuff. Like when you see this type of content and it's also tied to the folks who also do the clothing, it normalizes the hobby. Like I like the fact that we used to have to work and grind to watch anime back in like the early 2000s. Like we had to go to different websites, bootleg sites, and everything to watch a good anime. Now anime is almost on a level. It's not on the level of popularity as sports, but it's working its way up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I like that I can go to an event, walk around Walmart, and I'm probably gonna see just as many folks wearing an anime t-shirt as I see wearing a sports t-shirt, and it really gives you that community feel, which is dope.
Yeah.
Especially when we see black people in it.
So we got Sage in the building. He said, yo. Big shout out to the Dark Sage. If you have not checked out his channel, the Dark Sage has his anime content. He does manga reviews, manga unboxings, and you
figure reviews. He said he's sick of y'all only watching his manga videos. Watch his figure videos as well. I've been seeing him throw shade at y'all.
And make sure you follow him on the socials to check out his anime takes as well. We got another comment from Galvin Jack. He said, "Shout out to Gurren Otaku Council, our friends Ace and McMillian for their content." Um,
Now he said I can't spell their podcast.
it's Gurren Otaku Council. They've been putting a lot of One Piece content out. So if you have been up to date with One Piece, make sure you check out their previous episodes as well as their other episodes. So let's get into the discussion. Dark Sage, I appreciate that. No problemo. Thanks for joining the live stream and thanks for the continuous support. So, our first question we have for the discussion is, how has Black representation in anime, manga, and comic books, characters, developments, projects, etc., shaped you as an individual?
You go first, Antoine, since I answered the last question.
Ah,
I can't say that it has just shaped me in a major way or anything, but I do enjoy seeing it. Like we said, anime is mostly like Japanese culture, or of course Japanese animation. So you can't just be mad at them for not having black characters, but some of them do have a lot. Some of them are even based on black characters. So I like that. I like to see it.
If I recall, the mangaka behind Soul Leader and Fire Force said he specifically tries to add black people, and I was like, that's pretty dope. That's a nice goal, because he did it especially with Fire Force. Um, it hasn't shaped me seeing necessarily black characters in anime. Just the anime industry as a whole, though, it is definitely instilled those values of chase your dreams, some power, friendship. You know, y'all are my friends. I talk day in and day out about the ways that y'all helped me out through life, and just the core of anime as itself has definitely helped me in seeing some black folks. You know, we got Lady Oriichi, one of the baddest ones in the anime character in community. It's always nice to see them as well. I'm never mad at it, especially if they're obviously like black. You know what I'm saying?
I would agree on the anime side. On the comic book side, um, if you don't know, now you know. I started with the comic book side first, and then I dived into anime. But I guess it's to speak on the comic book side, how those characters have like shaped me. I guess it's for me, how it shaped me, like starting with like the Justice League, and then you have like John Stewart, Green Lantern. We go into Teen Titans. We got Cyborg, and then there's a lot of characters that have made it into the animation that hasn't made it to the big screen, and we can get into that later. But just being able to consume that content, and also we talked about this on the TV and excuse me, film industry episode, but having those characters and them having fleshed out stories and personalities and their own character arcs and their own issues, and having that individuality and not just being a side character to whatever else is going on, was always great to see. Always being able to point out, if we want to go Young Justice and talk about Aqualad, Icon, Rocket, like how all of them had their own arcs, and even as we got into the further episodes, really allowed me to enjoy the content, because the content is great as a whole, but being able to see people that look like you have these great, amazing powers and these character arcs and these struggles that we go through on the day to day, and being represented was, always great to see. And then anime, um, like I said, I can't speak too much for it. Like, cause just like Antoine said, it's not really our culture. But when it's done right, and when they have that individuality and there are a standout character, it's always fun to watch, because then it's like, yeah, and it adds to um our ability to identify and helps out with like the cosplays and things, because then we can latch on to a character, make it our own. So
And, and I want to show some love to the comic book industry. I know I wasn't much of an American comic book kid, but when I've done research on it and I see how comic books, especially like with DC, have always tried, and Marvel have always tried to put in the effort to like add some political social commentary,
Hmm.
whether they bring awareness, sometimes even if you disagree with the politics, I like that when you look at the history of comics, how they always played a part in like American culture. Probably
Marvel
to the same
specifically.
yeah,
Marvel and DC has done it too, but Marvel, like if we want to talk about like the early origins of X-Men, Black Panther,
exactly.
like all of that spinning off from the civil rights movement, and coming off like the means of equality and discrimination and everything like that. Like those comics coming from those point of times really hammer in, you
And
know.
that's the thing, because like when you can put these themes in media to where it's more easily digestible, especially for younger generations, it makes it to where we're able to have a conversation and learn about our history from different avenues and perspectives. You know what I mean? Like you may not
Hmm.
be studying the civil rights movement directly,
But
but
you
when
can
you're
understand the themes.
yeah, you can understand how people felt and how it may have affected them when you watch a movie like X-Men, how that hate from like Magneto continues to transfer and grow over time because of how someone did them wrong.
Hmm.
Imagine if the mutants were done right, and it's like it puts those thoughts in your head and it helps you to grow as a person. I appreciate that about the American comic book industry.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I had another thought, but we'll move on. If I remember it, I'll bring it up. But moving on to the next discussion topic, what do you like the most about black representation in the anime, manga, and comic book industry?
Mm, when it comes to the comic book industry, the fact that it has opened up more avenues for us to appear in big films. Like, I'm always going to give a whole lot of credit to Black Panther, but let's not forget about Samuel Jackson and
Yeah, Nick Fury,
Wesley Snipes and Blade, and how all of these movies, even though they may not be receiving is it Oscars for movies or is it the Grammys?
Oscars, Grammys, is music.
eh, yeah, even though they ain't like receiving Oscar awards because they're not like these indie films or whatever, it's still putting money in black folks' pockets. We're seeing black actors and black actresses. Black Panther, we had different actual tribes from Africa that were able to appear in the movie, shedding light on that, learning about different cultures and seeing it. And that gives us more and more opportunities to even be in the movie and TV and film industry. And I'm happy to see it. Like comics have definitely played a huge part in that. Um, I don't know if anime is going to make it to that point in American culture, if it's going to expand out and grow in that way. But I definitely got to give credit to comics. That's what I love most about them.
You could
I
say
would.
you could
I'll
say
go
that
ahead,
it had.
Antoine.
I'm sorry. You could say that it has a bit for the anime, or may
I mean, if
I
we
guess
want to talk about the One Piece live action,
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
actor
well,
who
yeah,
plays Usopp,
hmm That was like
that
the
was a
one
great
good
addition.
example I had. But I haven't watched
They
that other live anime.
talking about the Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, I haven't watched that. I don't know if they got black characters or not.
they,
I don't think I saw any.
they had Lakeith Stanfield as L in Death Note, and it was treacherous. Shout out to Lakeith, but I hope he need to delete that from his resume. Take it off. Don't mention it. Don't talk about it. Just let it die. Just ooh, that was disgusting. Go to the next person. We supposed to be talking about positive stuff. Get off of me.
So why would you say
That's
it?
what I'm saying. We ain't even got the
Why?
dislikes. Okay,
Yeah,
save that. We gonna unpack that when we get to the dislikes. But what I wanted to say of what I like the most, um, it's not so much the representation. I want to touch back on like the community part of what we mentioned when we were like giving the shout outs to all of the people. What I like the most is that we've been able to build communities around the anime, manga, and comic book industry, and been able to like communicate with people who have the same thoughts. And like I said before, we always find a way to like spin our own culture into it. And if we want to talk about the conventions and just like DreamCon and just how we can all like enjoy all of this, because it DreamCon is an anime and gaming convention, but hella people go there and dress up as superheroes.
Mhm.
Last time I went, I saw people cosplaying as characters from Avatar: The Last Airbender, Arcane, etc. So just being able to dive into those communities and being able, and I like the fact that, and me and Ryan had talked about this on an episode a while back, that it's easily accessible to get to those communities now as well.
Yeah, it is.
So we no longer have to feel like outliers in the anime community anymore, but we also don't have to feel like outliers in the realm of being black and liking anime, or being black and liking comic books, or being black and reading manga.
Mm-hmm. And I'll add to that because it's like I like that it's becoming less niche. Like
Yeah,
I know some people don't like when certain industries expand and grow, but I like that it's becoming less niche. It's easier to find friends. It's easier to find merch. Whether you like a Funko Pop, we talk about the clothes, but there's so many things you can now buy in these industries that really just allow you to show your love for anime and comics and manga.
yeah.
I just like that it's growing.
And I like the fact, to touch on your movie, when you mentioned about how the comic books have been transferring to movies. Um, I like that movies like Black Panther and Blade have allowed us to go backwards and be like, okay, this movie is great. Let me get into the comics, and how we're
Hmm.
discovering that there's all of these black characters that haven't made it to the big screen yet. Like,
Hmm.
one of my dislikes, and like I said, I get into it later, like, as far as lead uh black superhero movies, Black Panther, Blade, you want to throw Hancock in there, we can do that too. But
Shot Hancock.
everybody else is kind of like sidekicks.
Mhm.
Or, and then if I want to go into the DC side, as far as the DCEU is concerned, the only person I saw was Cyborg and Black Manta. But they got way more black characters that haven't touched the big screen yet. We'll see them in the animation, but I would love to see them get to the big screen. But my point was saying that I like that the representation that we're getting on the big screen is allowing us to go back and dive into the comics and go deeper into the lore and understand these characters and see that there are more characters that can reach those heights and get to the big screen.
Facts.
Because
Facts.
if we dive back into the comics, if we continue supporting these characters, showing love to these characters, then they'll make more. They'll continue their stories and they'll evolve, and we'll get generations and generations instead of it dying off because we're only paying attention to the ones that go to the movies.
Facts. Yeah. Ah. Hmm. I don't. What I will hope for, I do hope that James Gunn really explores the world of DC. Like a lot of people, we've been getting pissed off with MCU. I don't know what's going on with them, but I hope that James Gunn is able to see like, a and do it in the right way. We already did a TV and film live. Y'all go back and watch it. Me and Galvin argued about it, but do the diversity the right way. If you're going to talk about a black character, really allow that character to shine in the fact that they are just a well-written character, not just because they're black.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
I got a comment from my dad. He said, "Don't forget about his boy Black Lightning." My bad. I did
Shout
forget
out to
about
Black
your
Lightning.
boy. I did forget about your boy Black Lightning. Jefferson Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I definitely agree. Like I could go on a rant about how I just don't know how this MCU thing is going, but the fact that James Gunn is starting the DCU from scratch. I know he's doing the Green Lantern series, so I hope we get to see John Stewart again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with him doing the Mascara series, I hope he dives into like um the fact that there were Black Amazons, and hopefully we get further and get to like Nubia.
There were?
Yes.
Ah! Look, I ain't know.
See that, but that's what I'm saying though. So and
So,
then I know he teased like Mr. Terrific. I hope he shows up. I hope we get like Rocket. If we're doing Superman, I hope we get Steel. Like
mm-hmm.
it's a lot of characters that if you don't dive into the comics sometimes, or if you didn't watch all of the animated series, no, Sage, we do not count Black Adam as black even though his name starts with
That's so
black.
crazy, but I'm the
We,
crazy one for
we
talking
don't
about Black
we
Yoshi.
we don't we don't we do not count Black Adam as black. Okay, the actor who played Hawkman in Black Adam, I did enjoy his character. I did.
The Rock is biracial.
The character Black Adam is not.
Oh, so the Rock
Okay.
was only okay.
The Rock don't claim us though.
Yeah, let's not
So if he don't
just
claim us, I'm not
let's-
claiming him.
yeah,
Okay.
let that one go.
Okay, I get it. I feel it. I
If
feel you.
if you call me your best friend, but I don't call you my best friend, you gonna keep calling me your best friend?
See, I call you my best friend, and you be like, "No, you don't even think of me as your best friend." So what you call that?
You don't.
If the
That's-
Rock said he,
Mm.
you see how that go? You see how that go, Antoine? You see?
See, I'm getting you back. I'm getting you back from last week. You put me on Front Street last week. I'm gonna put you on Front Street this week.
You know what? Keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. Let's keep.
Oh, not now. Keep it pushing. Now keep it pushing.
We got an episode. We got an episode to do.
But like, also, I don't know. I think the community piece, the fact that we were talking about James Gunn. I hope he does like start bringing those characters to light, whether it's through like the animated content. I really hope he pushes for like the live content so we can get, more familiar with these characters. Like we learn more because the DC universe is like expansive.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, or whatever. So I really hope that he goes in, pulls these characters out, and puts them on the big screen.
You gotta have to do it the right way though, because you know how it is when you just throw out a new character that most people don't know. Because a lot of people don't like read comments and stuff, so they don't just know about.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about. I feel like he can do it, and and I'm gonna tell you why. When the MCU started, the MCU didn't start until after the first Iron Man movie and that Incredible Hulk movie came out. It was just Marvel Studios. Iron Man at the time was not one of the top, maybe not even the top 5 Marvel IPs at that time. That movie, they introduced his characters so well, they casted him so well that it kicked off everything that we've seen from the MCU till now.
Yeah.
I sure only know who Iron Man was, but that movie made him my favorite superhero. I was like, all I ever heard of was Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and Hulk.
But all they had to do was introduce him and give him a good story. And I don't think that's hard to this. I don't think it's hard to do. Yeah. I don't think it's hard to get right. We have the material. It's not like we creating them from scratch. Like James Gunn is like, oh, I want to make a black superhero. Let's brainstorm. You have the material.
And here's my thing: if they figure out who they want to write to, if you're writing to the actual DC fans, the fans of nerdy culture when it comes to superheroes and all that stuff next, and then just film and movie fans, and you just truly try to write a good story, I think you can build a great DC universe without touching Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman for a couple of years. And I don't even know all the heroes in DC. That's just my opinion. You could touch on if you make good movies, you made good movies.
Yeah, I think the film is definitely gonna be like the hardest part for them because trying to get the audience, really bring that audience in. I mean, of course, you got the comic book readers that are gonna tune in, but if you're trying to reach a larger audience, that movie is gonna have to really catch some people.
I want to counter argue Ron's thing. They're going to have to use Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. I'm sorry. They're going to have to start with them first. But when it's time, what I'm saying is when it's time to introduce those characters, it can be done. And it can be done on a level that people who have never touched a comic book or seen them in animation can connect and latch on to this character and be like, oh, we want to see more of them. Because you talk about the rage over Black Panther. People who have not touched a comic book, an animated series, went to go see Black Panther just because, one, it was a lead film with a black superhero, and then two, because it was written that well. That introduction to Black Panther was written that well that people who hadn't even touched the franchise before was diving into it, and now they're MCU fans. Or now some of these people have come into the comics. Now we're seeing how he relates to Storm in the X-Men, how he's been in the Avengers, how he's done this, how he's done that. But it started with that well-written story and that casting.
And they did good marketing. They didn't falsely advertise it like DC did with Superman versus Batman.
We're not going to talk about that because that's not a black project.
I'm just saying. We were talking about the comics.
We were talking about the comics, but you know how I feel about that movie, and that's not what this episode is for.
I hear you. I just threw it out there.
I feel you. So let's get into. Did anybody have anything else that they liked that they wanted to discuss before we move into dislikes?
No, I think that was good. Now we can do the controversial stuff.
All right. So what do you dislike the most about black representation? Or let's just do black participation, since we're getting into like the communities and the cosplayers and everything. What do you dislike the most about black representation and black participation in the anime, manga, and comic book industry?
I don't know if it's a hard dislike, but your dad kind of just reminded me of it. Every black person ain't gotta have lightning powers.
That boy, the dude in Naruto, he got lightning powers. The dude with the sword got lightning powers.
Hold on, and anime makes a difference. Nah, we got to defend this. Naruto, them Cloud Ninja, they brothers. It is what it is. But now we got Laxus, we got Killua. Anime give everybody lightning powers. That's the comic book side of things.
I would say, in my knowledge, chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I only know 2 black heroes that have lightning powers, and that's Black Lightning and Static Shock. So,
here's the thing.
But I'll say this though, I think where Antoine is coming from is I've seen it where people like create original characters, or if they're like, hey, I'm starting a new original series, or hey, here's my original manga character. If I was to put him in this, that, and the third, and they do be having lightning powers.
Storm got lightning.
Who got lightning?
Is Storm originally? She's originally like black, like even back in the comics.
She controls like the weather.
That's true. I'll give her that.
So lightning is part of the weather. Her gimmick is not lightning. Like Static Shock and Black Lightning, their gimmick is lightning, but Storm's gimmick is not just lightning.
She get a pass.
Storm is from Africa. Yes.
Okay. In terms of a dislike, I would think so. Here, because I said I like what I like about the community, I'm gonna say what I dislike about our anime community, and it's just the fact that we add all this unnecessary discourse. I don't like how we still got folks talking about their trauma getting bullied, and that doesn't make the anime fun. I don't like how a lot of people place their issues with American culture on Japanese culture, because I feel like you're supposed to separate the two. I don't see this as much, but when they be like, oh, why the black anime characters got to get treated like this and why they got to get treated like that, and I'm like, are you 100% sure? I'll even say 50% sure, based on the information out there, that those mangakas said, hey, we're going to make this black character and we're going to do him like that?
Well,
you probably make the argument for Popo and Dragon Ball Z.
I was just about to say, like,
you can make the...
But my counter argument would be, do you have the information to prove that wasn't their intention?
The only argument I can make is that when it comes to American culture, if you have not experienced Japanese culture, it is inappropriate to place American culture and assume that they have the same views as Americans. That's what I would say is what I can prove. I don't like that when we digest content from a country that's all the way in the East, super far away, and we try to place our same lens on them and assume that they're going to look at things the way we do. Because we can get into a whole lot of stuff that we see people talking about on social media that they're like, why do they allow this in anime and manga and all of this other stuff? It's like it's a different nation. They're separate from us.
agree with you on that terms because it comes back to the fact that that's not like the big thing that we said at the beginning. Like that's not our culture. So I can see where it straddles a line of like we're having expectations for like King was saying this like last week when we were discussing the anime thing. Like he's like he didn't feel like we had the jurisdiction to go to these mangakas and be like, hey, give us more black representation, like beg them to
I
put more
fully
black
agree.
people in this anime when it's not our culture.
Mhm.
I fully agree. And even Sage was like, yeah, like Mr. Popo, he's not even technically a human being. Does he have that African Middle Eastern aesthetic that you could apply? Yes, but he's technically not even a human being. He's a creature. And I see how people can make the stretch, but it's like for y'all to make that stretch, do y'all like some folks don't realize that you're when you view it from an American lens, it's a huge stretch. That's a completely different culture. They view things completely different. Their history when it comes to social politics in that nation completely different from ours. Completely different.
Yeah, because
It's like
I feel like it's the because I feel like it's the same with them, like how we represent Japanese culture, how we represent Hawaiian culture in media and stuff. Like if we just want to talk about Lilo and Stitch shows surfboards, luau's, and hula hulas. I just found out they don't even do that. They do that for the tourists in Hawaii. That's not how it's like over there for
Yeah,
real.
that's what the folks were saying when I went over there. They was like, yeah, they was doing all this stuff with this fire and all of that. And they was like, oh yeah, we just do this for the tourists. I was like, oh,
That's
okay.
what I'm
They
saying.
said that was created by Western, I guess ideology of what they do over there. And I was like, oh, okay, well,
So I can see it on the flip side of like the things how we
mhm.
integrate certain cultures in the media is not always accurate or one to one, or sometimes it's some shit that we made up and it doesn't align with their culture.
Mhm.
and that's just my issue. Like that's the one thing I dislike. It's more so with the community, only because it's like when you put an idea out there, as flawed and as stupid as it is, it can gain traction if you act like you know what you're talking about. And I just don't like when those ideologies gain traction on social media because I'm like, y'all are digesting another country's culture that y'all never understand, and just because y'all visit for a week does not mean y'all understand that nation's culture. Someone can't visit America for a week and understand American culture in a week.
That's true.
It don't
I
work
would
like that.
I would also say that um I haven't seen those. I guess I haven't seen those arguments a lot, but I've seen like I guess I would say if it comes down to that situation, it's always as a community or as a culture we can decide like to not support that anime or not support that mangaka. Like there's ways that we can separate ourselves from that content instead of getting into these arguments about content that, like I was like how King was saying before, we don't really have the jurisdiction to change. Like like what we can do, and shout out to RDC World for doing it, we can go out and make our own media that, doesn't dive into those things that we find offensive. Like we can always do that. And some people have started doing that, like writing their own manga, getting into writing their own anime, their and things like that, and adapting it to where we're not so much trying to influence it on that side, but we're taking it and putting it in stuff that we
We're
create.
taking we're taking that influence and creating something that we truly appreciate.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Instead of trying to, mandate and huff and puff about a different culture. And this
And
is
I do
definitely
like that.
this definitely not to like invalidate anybody's feelings, but also like how we said before, it's not our culture.
Hmm.
Just like somebody can't come over here and tell us about like our like black influence in the music industry, or how like our movies and how we do specific things when it comes to food, musics, and celebrations, etc.
Or the fact, or just the way that Americans display ninja, and how with any sci-fi film or movie that's talking about you, the Matrix, we gotta throw katanas up in here, and I'm like, like, do y'all even know how some of these weapons functioned and how they were used in war? Like, come on now. It's kind of funny when you think about it. Like Americans really think like kunai knives from Naruto are like real weapons. Like,
I found out them what weapons.
you didn't know that already? Those are farming tools.
No, you told me that when I
Yeah.
was when that's I'm getting to you. I'm proving your point.
Oh yeah.
That the way it was displayed, we looking at it was like, oh, this a weapon. So we walking around with Naruto cosplays and kunais, and they use this to dig in the dirt.
Those are all tools, bro. And it's like it's funny because it's like when you take the time to learn. It's like even when you learn about ninja and samurai, when people take the time to learn, like samurai were basically like legendary war heroes. Like they were supported, they were idolized, they were elite. Ninjas are just assassins, and half of them died when they were sent on black operations. They weren't using. They called it jutsu, but in real life, they were just using different forms of illusion to
Running real
kill their
fast.
targets. Yeah.
My other dislike, and I already said this, I want to see more of my black heroes in these live action films.
Yeah.
I do. And like, I'm not saying because they got on our A word about this when we did the Marvels. But there are, like, if we just want to talk about who's currently in the MCU, like, we got Shuri as the Black Panther, we got Wakanda as a country, we got Sam, who's Captain America, we got Rhodey, we got Ironheart on the way, and that's great, and I'm happy that we're getting it. But some of those characters are sidekicks. I don't know when we get in that Ironheart series, and we ain't seen Sam as Captain America since that TV show in 2021. On the DCEU side, like I already said, the only people I didn't see is Cyborg and Black Manta. So like, shout out to the animation always, because they gonna put my people in there. But I really want to see us on the live action front as well. Because it's more than Black Panther. There's more than just Storm. I know, I don't know if this is still going on, but I know we talked about this years ago. It's like Michael B. Jordan was doing his Black Superman project. And to be fair, he is a separate entity from the Superman that we know, but there's more characters than Superman. There's more than a Black Superman variant as well.
So I want to get your opinion on something. It's on topic, but kind of off topic from the Black History focus. I know we've talked about it before, but what's your opinion on these arguments and these dialogues that people are having about comics versus manga and like the comic book industry dying? Being that you're more so balanced since you actually are like a huge comic nerd.
I feel like I chipped in. So I'm going to answer your question now. I'm going to answer Sage's question about where those Black heroes make money. The comic book, I think it's... Because I kind of chipped... I think the argument that I had, because I feel like me and Sage had this discussion when the argument was happening. And I think it's because usually with manga, when it transfers to anime, it's like usually 1-to-1. And it could be more digestible. I think the thing with the comic books is when it gets adapted into media, it's not always 1-to-1. Or it's always an adaptation of something. Like, you can watch all of these MCU movies and not touch a comic book. And if you went back and read the influences for these movies, you will see like heavy differences between the comic books and the movies. But if we want to talk about...
Do you think that's because they're trying to I don't know if I want to say reach a different audience, but I guess like I was saying earlier, like when you put something on the screen, you just kind of gotta. Sometimes I feel like they gotta switch it up a bit if they really want to catch like viewers' attention.
Hmm.
So I feel like maybe that's why they diverge a bit from the source material. Do you think it's like that's probably why they do that?
No, I think it's definitely why. Like I've seen like articles where um and getting into Sage's point, they
Yeah,
do
I see which
always
one you're
say
coming at.
based on this character or based on this series or based on these comic books. And the reason is I believe is exactly that. Like everybody wants to create like their own thing. And yes, we'll pull these influences from these comics, but the ending product, what you're gonna see on the screen, is not going to be the same. And it's kind of like if it's not going to match up anyway, if it's going to be based on this anyway, why bother with the comic books? But I feel like on the anime side, like because it's so closely knit that when a season of an anime ends, you can pick up the manga and pick off where
Mm,
you left off in the anime. And when the anime comes back around to adapt it, it's going to be as close to it as possible.
Do you feel like the comic book industry is still making any new innovations, or is it just our perspective on it is skewed? And if I had to make a comparison, like it's easy for someone who first discovers anime to think, oh, it's all just about a whole lot of busty women and big buff guys fighting, screaming, and getting power ups. But when you delve deep, it's like, no, anime spans out into countless genres. And it's more than just the shonen demographic when you actually just take a quick Google search. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It goes beyond just your average historical fantasy that got samurai and ninja. It goes more than just sci-fi. Is there is that are those different genres explored in comics? Because I've never heard of a comic book franchise outside of like MCU, DC, and recently Invincible. Like, is there a comic book franchise that's like
I feel like they got a
soap
lot though.
operas?
I know they have. I know they have like what Sage is saying. Shonen anime are action superhero movies of anime and manga. So like, um, I know they have lighthearted comics. Like you can go like if you want to talk about like Calvin and Hobbes, or I think like even
Hmm.
like Scott Pilgrim was a comic. Like they do have different genres, but I think we're so laser focused on Marvel and DC, which are more action packed. And right, like Sage is saying, the Peanuts. Like
Mm.
if we want to go back in the day where you get the newspapers and they had the whole page, a couple pages like the comic strips, that technically counts. And if
Oh,
you and if
Garfield and all of that would count, huh?
Right, that's what I'm saying. But as you were reading those, wasn't nobody fighting or using superpowers or punching people. It
Mhm.
was just this is a lighthearted comic. This is a funny comic.
Yeah. And I like what Sage is like. Comic is a broad term. Like, if you just talk about like graphic novels that tell stories, it's like, okay. Do you feel like they get enough marketing? Like, I know, like, when it comes to anime, if I can speak on that, I feel like we as Americans, we latch on to that because the action genre is just the biggest genre. Is that just basically what it is with comics? Like, a lot of businesses are like, forget investing in anything that's not action.
I the issue for me to keep up with comics, and this because I can't speak for everybody else, but the issue for me is that with comics they reboot so much, they change people's origins so much, they have all of these different storylines happen at the same time that it's hard to follow. Like it's never it's a continuous stream of comics and then it stops and then we go to something else. Like DC has rebooted. Like you can tell through the animation, but DC has rebooted like 3 times since no
Right.
in maybe like the past 10 years. Like they had their I can't remember what that era was called, but like Justice League Doom. Then they did Flashpoint. Flashpoints put them in the New 52. So that's when all those New 52 comics start coming out. Then something else happened, and then they did Rebirth. So now we're doing the Rebirth stuff. So they constantly reboot, they change people's origins. We have all of these like Injustice is just a side storyline for DC. in a different universe doing its own thing. And I've read all of the Injustice comics, but it still doesn't put me in a line with
Right.
any other comics. So it's kind of hard to keep up.
Mm. Could you see like I don't want to say a resurgence because it's like I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea of the comic book industry dying because like say said it's a very broad term.
Hmm.
If anything, people are just letting out some steam of how they're upset with DC and Marvel. But like, could you see like there being a resurgence of comic books that delve into soap operas, that delve into stuff that's not necessarily action, stuff that delves into deep stories or rom-coms and stuff of that, or even just a general comedic comic? Do you think you could see a resurgence of all of that and it actually be like a comic book medium / graphic novel medium?
I don't know because I feel like we're spoiled by the fact that it's going to get adapted into animation anyway. Because like if we just want to talk about Invincible, like I only know one person who read the Invincible comics, and we find out the fact that it was based on the comics when the animated series comes out.
We did.
Mm.
And I want to touch on what Sage said this early in the comments. He was like, anime is usually made to promote the manga.
Yeah.
Animated series and the movies that are based on these comics, I don't feel like it's the same thing. It doesn't work that way. Like it worked for me because I was truly invested and where like the stories that they came from and me being familiar with like the animated series and that grabbed me to go back and look. But I don't think it's the same type of advertisement of watch Infinity War and now go read the comic book arc.
Right. Okay. Huh. Y'all put me on. I'm reading Sage's comments as well. Like when it says that's never where the money's been. So shows and movies for comics are never meant to like. They was always just created to make their own separate amount of money. It was never to like pull
Let's
fans
just
back
talk
to the
about
comics.
the cancellation of Young Justice. Young Justice, even though like when the people I was around, like everybody, all my friends, me and my dad would wake up and watch it. Like Young Justice was animation wise was a hit for Cartoon Network. The show got canceled because they couldn't sell the toys.
You're right. That's a good point.
So even though the show was, everybody was sitting down Saturday morning watching Young Justice, the reason it got canceled is not because the show they couldn't sell the merchandise.
You're right. And I know that when it comes to like anime, manga and merch sales plays a part into even a franchise lasting a long time.
Yeah. But I did want to answer Sage's question, and if I scroll up, he asks, but will those not as popular black heroes make money? I think if they write them well, if they make them appealing enough, because that's the big thing. Like, yes, we can throw them in the movie and just say, hey, we got a black superhero in the movie. But if we take care of the character and add that appeal and make them worth a character latching onto, I think they can. Because Marvel could have easily flopped with Black Panther.
They could have. And I think it's so many people that went to go watch Black Panther that don't even watch Marvel movies, like we were saying
That's
earlier,
what I'm
just
saying.
because it was black people in it. And once they actually got in the theater, they actually enjoyed the movie. So you can advertise, oh, we got this movie, we got black people. Once you get them in there, it needs to be a good movie still.
And my other point is that by the time we got to Black Panther, we had already been introduced to Rhodey and Falcon, Sam Wilson, who is now Captain America. We had already got introduced to two other black heroes in the MCU before we even got to Black Panther.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It's not about can the black hero themselves make the money. It's can you just actually make the character interesting.
And that's all I'm saying. If they take the time to flesh out these characters and make them appealing and make them something to latch onto, I think they can make the money instead of you just throwing them in the movie just to say, hey, we got a black superhero.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, like, if you think about it, if you really think about it, if you look at even just the Marvel superheroes, some of them are not that interesting. If you really think about it, Marvel made them very interesting. But if you look at somebody like Hawkman, okay, not Hawkman. Yeah, Hawkman, like the man just Hawkeye. Like, okay, he got his bow and arrows and all that good stuff, but what makes him interesting? But when he joins the Avengers and you look at his storyline, you keep him interesting. When you look at Black Widow, you made her interesting. We got a whole bunch of spy movies, and we kept the movie interesting. If you just write the characters really well, give us some emotional investment, and market it well, honestly, the Hulk is kind of boring. He's just a scientist that got drugged up.
The Hulk,
He's a scientist that got drugged up.
he didn't get drugged up. He got splashed with radiation.
Yeah, but not drugged up.
Not drugged up. They did not inject him with no stuff to turn him into that.
That's crazy.
Splash radiation.
So UV, so gamma radiation is equivalent to
It's a
drug.
drug.
All right, y'all. When y'all step outside in the summer in them UV rays, just know for Ryan's definition, you are getting drugged up.
We on drugs.
When y'all out there killing the ozone layer fossil fuels, y'all getting drugged up. Y'all out there in LA getting drugged up.
But no, I think they can. I think not that honestly. Man, I don't know where you got the fact where he was drugged up from. I honestly have no clue where you got that from. And I would disagree to say that Hulk. Before we got to Iron Man, Hulk wasn't made him, Spider-Man, and the rest of them people. Come on now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like
it's just. I'm gonna say this. It's the actor. I do not like the actor who was playing Hulk in the MCU. I want the other guy back and his Hulk.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, basically what I was saying, like what Sage said, like, can these black actors make money? It just depends on if you invest in a character. Like, people talk about Madam Web failing now, but you could tell they didn't really put much investment in that movie from the dang trailers. Throwing money is not an investment. Getting good writers and producers and directors is the investment.
Yeah.
You could tell from the trailer that wasn't going to turn into nothing.
Sage talking about that. Oh, before the 2008 Hulk movie, I think this one came out in 2004.
I did have those ones on DVDs.
And that's the one that you talking about.
He got drugged up.
But that's not what actually happened.
You gonna stick to that, huh?
He gonna stick to that. But that's all I'm saying though. I think I would like to see more in the live action, and I think it can sell. If they do it right. If they, like you said, if they invest in the producing, the writing, the directors, the acting, they can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And then not have to meet a quota of, oh, we need to put a black character in here. Because if we want to talk about the MCU, Sam Wilson became Captain America in 2021. We are not seeing him again in a Captain America movie until 2025. Marvel has made countless content since then, and if we want to go, Say said we getting colored Hulks before for real, red Hulks for real.
The next black superhero gonna be the Black Hulk.
But what was I saying? They've made countless content, even with their What If series. The character that they latched onto through that whole series is Captain Carter, which is another variant of Captain America, but it's still the one that we've been waiting for. We get a black Captain America, and we ain't seen that man since 2021.
I'm gonna be real. The Captain America character was the most boring one in MCU. That's just me.
But all I'm saying is that the characters that they have
Yeah.
Like we saw Rhodey in Secret Invasion, and we're not supposed to see him till Armor Wars, and I don't know when that's coming out. They didn't push back the Ironheart series, so the only thing we have of hers is Wakanda Forever.
I feel like Sage mad at me, but I can't tell. I'm gonna be real. I dislike Captain America from the first movie. I did not like the movie.
Captain America, Hawkeye is definitely lower on the list than Captain America, honestly.
They didn't try to make me like Hawkeye. Hawkeye didn't get 2 solo films technically. Well, just 3. Iron Man was just very prevalent in Civil War.
The Captain America movies was good though.
No, they weren't. That man didn't even get the girl at the end. Like that man got.
Okay, let's scratch out the first movie.
First movie sets the tone.
I like Winter Soldier, and Civil War ain't really even about him. That's Avengers 1.5.
The only reason I even like Civil War was for Iron Man. I just did not like the Captain America. He's a little prep boy who was a Cub Scout. He ain't never get the girl, and he's boring, and he loves his homeboy, I guess, and let's go with all logic. And
I can sit down and watch the movie. It's not just like my favorite. Like, oh, let's go watch it. But I mean, it was watchable.
I like Winter Soldier.
The only one I could sit down and actually watch was Civil War, and that was for Iron Man. The others I disliked. I feel like I wasted my money. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Be mad at me.
He's had so much hate for Captain America for so long.
They said you like Naruto. Naruto loves Sasuke.
And that's the part I dislike about Naruto. Say we've had these conversations. I hate that became the plot for the post time skip Naruto. I hate that it became.
I want order. I
hate that about Naruto. Naruto is a love. At the core, Naruto is a love story.
All I'm
gonna
say
is.
We not finna go on this run about Captain America and Naruto. The point that I was trying to make is that the MCU has some black characters that to me, I feel like they're not doing anything with. I feel like the only one that they've really hyped up was Black Panther and Wakanda. You know, and I like the way that they did it, but everybody else, to me, ain't getting no love. And that's not what I want to see from the DCU.
Honestly, they're probably going to turn a hero black before they introduce a new black hero. It depends on who's in the writing room.
And that's what I'm talking about with the Michael B. Jordan thing. Like, yes, the black Superman is his own separate entity. He lives in a different universe. But he's still Superman. Like, we get the gist of it. Like, we get the gist of what he's supposed to be, but we get in a black Superman before we get everybody else. Not saying it's wrong, but
there are some black heroes that have interesting stories that we could put in the forefront, and y'all don't want to take the risk and be creative and push them out there.
Sage X did Luke Cage flop. I think I watched the first 2 seasons of Luke Cage, and I didn't go back, and I didn't hear anything positive about whatever the last season it was before it got canceled.
I don't remember when Luke Cage. I remember some people talking positively about Luke Cage when it came out, but I could tell it wasn't my type of show.
It was good. The running joke on Twitter is that they made him dab, and the show went downhill.
Why Sage talking about milkmen?
Because Jessica Jones is a white woman.
Oh.
Not a black
MLK fought for us to have access to milk. That's what he was fighting for.
Oh my God. Okay, I want order. I want order. Sage said, "Nah, Foop, it is wrong." I'm more so on the side that yes, like we could have picked out anybody else. Michael B. Jordan could have picked any other character to focus on.
Be Martian Manhunter. Is Martian Manhunter black?
The persona that he takes in Justice League is a black man, and also in the Supergirl series on the CW, he also takes a persona as a black man as well.
Tell Michael B. Jordan to talk to James Gunn and be Martian Manhunter, because I actually like Martian Manhunter as a superhero.
I don't think I would like to see Michael B. Jordan as Martian Manhunter. That's just me personally.
He, in some of his roles, in his serious roles, he has had good moments. Like when he
He
was in
said
that
it's Martian Manhunter doing black.
Not blackface.
But the question brings me to the fact of one of the things I don't like. The second thing I don't like about the comic book, anime, and manga industry, when it does come time for black representation, we shapeshifters, we fish people, or we some other type of we got some other type of thing coming on.
Not in Black Panther. Our Latin brothers were the fishes. We was the land folks. We ain't have to transform.
I feel you, but like sometimes, like Martian Manhunter, Mystique, her personality usually be a white woman. She either blue or she a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
Sage tripping me out. Man, put these comments on the screen so folks can see him, because Sage tripping me out, bro.
He said, "I know she." Sage said, "I know she was a bad black woman." Gamora, like Zoe Saldana being Gamora, like we gotta be green, we gotta be fit. Like I said the same thing when we was talking about the One Piece thing. We get to the pirate island.
Oh, and we knew them folks was black.
But
you know,
like
they
why
had
we
hip-hop music.
why we gotta be fishing? No, why we just can't be this?
Hold on.
And all of them was too. You know.
Hold on. But Antoine, you are a One Piece fan. It was actually very fitting when you learn about the history of the Fishmen for them to be black. That was actually just great casting. Sage, come on now. Antoine, come on. In terms of the history of the Fishmen, how the world government treats them, how the celestial dragons even looked at treated them when they was
discrimination. So let's make them black.
What they said, I'm putting it on the screen. Fishman was black.
They was black. They were black in the anime. They was black in the anime. They might as well be.
But they was fishies though. That's all.
They were discriminated against. That's what made them black. Fishmen can't use our.
No, this was say said they should have the gold chain. See, because here's the funny thing. Because now I'm finna contradict what I was saying when I was like, I don't want y'all to put y'all American perspectives on anime, because Yoroichi, one of the best black anime characters, was a cat for like the first.
And that's
part
all I'm saying.
Of the Soul Society arc.
See how you proving my point?
But
why we just can't be this?
Kisame Sozen. He stayed a man until he became a bug, but that was because he sold his soul to Aizen, who also became a bug, and he was a handsome white man. So Kisame was black and a regular black man at first.
Okay.
Hibana and Fire Force and the dude with the dreads, black. They just consistent.
She got pink eyes and pink hair.
Now we saw some black women at our high school who had some colored eye, pink eyes too.
We did the color contest,
and they had the pink, and they had the pink hair. They had pink hair too, purple, red, all that. Honestly, we can talk.
But I did want that what Ryan was saying before. I do like the black characters in Fire Force. I do.
Yeah.
Dang, Brook from One Piece is black, but he a skeleton. He was black when he was alive.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand the circumstances that may have turned him into a skeleton, but we saw him as a skeleton first, and then we went into his backstory, and he a black man.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta look at my anime. Was there any black folks in Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah.
Who was black in Bobo? Yeah, Bobo. He had that blonde.
He just said Bobo.
Canary.
Canary.
And we're
Canary was a black queen. She was basically a slave to the Zodiac family, but I mean,
see, there we go. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?
The Raikage. We got the Raikage.
The whole village was black.
Killer B is a rapper.
They had that one white woman who looked like a younger version of Tsunade.
and he's a bad rapper at that. And I just,
We got a
it's
tail
so.
beast. We get a black tail beast, and he's a SoundCloud rapper.
Hey, yo, no, that's a good sound. Hey, hey.
That's so funny that I ain't never thought about it like
It's
that.
funny how you
Not a
said
sound,
that.
not a
It's funny how you
SoundCloud.
said
because we
Yo.
go through Naruto. We go through Naruto learning all this lore about tail beasts and how they're so dangerous and how they should be taken so serious. Like they should be taken so serious to the fact that we abandoned Naruto for most of his life and let him grow up by himself to meet Killer Bee. And he's a SoundCloud rapper.
There weren't any other black ninjas. You know what's crazy?
That's all I'm
'Cause even
saying. That's
even
all I'm saying.
even Satori, we thought he was black until we realized that was a puppet, and he a white man with red hair,
He
Asian
was.
or whatever
He
man in that red
was.
hair. What
Look,
that
I ain't even
The
mad
fist
at the Cloud
they
Village though. They was
said
living good.
they said just remember that fist bump gave them power ups. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. My two dislikes, my one dislike from the comic book industry is that I want more of our black superhero characters in these live action movies done right. And on the anime side, even though we cannot dictate it, I do dislike that sometimes when it comes down to it, we are everything but black. We skeletons, fish folk.
the black guy from Attack on Titan who flew the plane and got hurt. Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
And he was
What's
from the side they was fighting.
He was black.
The only black person on Attack on Titan.
I gotta look
The
at my
only
manga
black
and think.
person from Attack on Titan was from the enemy island that set up the whole thing in the first place.
Hold on. There's someone else who's black.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Let's get into our last discussion point. The Dark Sage said Dragon Ball had one black guy. No, you're not talking about Piccolo.
You better be talking about Mr. Popo.
No, there was a dude there was that black guy in GT. He was in GT.
He was the subordinate of Commander Red. Is what Sage said.
I know who Sage talking about. Ooh, I can't even remember his name. I can't remember his name.
We'll come back to it. Our last discussion point is, so we've talked about our likes and our dislikes. So what is one thing you guys would like to see in the future in regards to black representation in anime, manga, and comic books? And we can also talk about black participation as well if your answer is more so community focused.
Just representation, I guess. I think that's going to be just the biggest thing. Just representation.
I want to see more of what we're seeing now when it comes to anime. I like when someone like Meg the Stallion comes out and she does her Death to Kid and her Mirko cosplays, because some people, the little upset little nerdy dudes be like, oh my gosh, I bet you don't even like anime and manga for real. Some of y'all ain't even watch Soul Eater. But when we see someone of her caliber talk about anime and manga, that's when you start seeing more merch. That's when the Japanese are able to see more higher ratings, more streams, and now the mangakas get some more money paid to them, and we see more projects come to light. So I want to see more of that. Folks got mad at Michael B. Jordan.
They could also, not to interrupt you, but I just said that might also give them more motivation to include black characters in their anime as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like for the folks who do like the anime, I like when they do bring it up. Like some people can say it's clout chasey, but even if it's clout chasey, it still comes with positive results. And like Sage said, more black creators in the space of nerdiness. Like even how I found Sage, like when because I think I found Sage and then I followed him on Twitter. That's how we started talking. But like he was one of the few folks who was black and actually had good opinions on manga when I was getting into my manga collecting journey. And I'm like, ain't many of us out there. Ain't many of us out there. Like our black folks, we can do more than be on these red pill gender war podcasts. Don't be afraid to talk about your comics. Don't be afraid to talk about some anime. We can talk money. We can talk anything. You know what I'm saying? So I want us to like continue to branch out. For the ones of us who are in the limelight, if you're passionate about this stuff, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to talk about it because we're in a space where people ain't being judged on it anymore. It's not that small of a niche, but it's still a niche.
Yeah. Just reading some of Sage's comments, he said, if Ryan ain't followed me, then I would have never found the pod, who in turn Foop helped me start my podcast. Like, yeah. Once you get into it, like once you step into the space, you find more people in the space and you can contribute into making that community bigger and bigger.
Mhm.
And the other thing, just to touch on your community thing that I want to see, I would like for us to stop finding ways to divide us in the space.
100% yes.
Cause it's like every now and then I get on Twitter and black anime Twitter in shambles about something. Whether it's fandom, whether it's something about like trying to find like your communities and like the interactions that we have with people and etc. So it's hard enough already for people to get into those spaces and to express that they want to be in those spaces, and then we get into those spaces and we degrade, berate, have these petty arguments.
And it's so quick too, because it's like I love Twitter, the platform for what it could be, but I see why some people hate the negativity because I'm like, the whole point of this is to have conversations. And just because one or two black people get big in the industry don't mean they gotta immediately be placed against each other. There is a large pie when it comes to social media, YouTube, television, whatever industry, for all of us to make some money, for all of us to develop a following, and for all of us to sit down and just talk. It ain't gotta be no huge competition or bloodshed.
Yeah. So I would like to see that. Definitely more people get into the space. Um Support, making sure that we're supporting each other in these spaces. And then to touch on Sage's thing, more original characters. My first thing is, let's take the characters that we got that y'all not showing love to and show them some love. And then when it's time to make something new, let's not just race swap somebody and give them a different origin. Let's
100%.
actually take the time and the care and the love to create an original black character that people can latch onto inside of this space.
Exactly. And shoot, for the folks who want to create their own like American influenced manga or whatever, I think because ain't manga just a Japanese word for comic? So ain't is it like if that's what I thought I learned? If it's not, it is what it is. Like for the folks who want to make their manga, black folks, feel free to make it because I'll definitely check it out. Shoot, the book that I was
It-
working on when me and Portia was trying to write books, I want Slick want to make it a manga.
yeah, they said manga is a style of Japanese comic book and graphic novels. So yeah.
But it is a specific style, so they have regular comic books.
I would say that I would like to watch more um I guess animated series or anything that's created by black people. I know I see like the designs, but I haven't
We
read or
gotta
watched anything that's like really
I would say we need to support them
yeah.
because
We
they
got to come out and support. Yeah.
because they have them. We don't have a lot, but when they
Mhm.
do, we got to go out and support. We have to
Yeah.
prove to these companies that this was worth their investment, that people are actually
Mhm.
paying attention to this, and that's how we
Yeah.
get more of it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's quality, because like if you're if you see something you like you have to shout out what you like. And I feel like people don't get that. Like when I see a product or a service that I like, you're gonna see me tell Portia and Antoine in the pod about it, and you don't see me talk about it on Twitter and post some pictures. But folks need to realize that that's how these algorithms work. If you want something you like to get some clout, to get some support, to get funding, to get marketing, for people to be like, oh, we see that there's a demand for this, we got to support, we got to talk about it, we got to follow them, we got to share it with friends, you got to do all of that. That's how you
Mhm.
grow these products. Like if somebody can recommend me a good, y'all see that I like shonen, battle shonen, if y'all can see if y'all know a black creator who done created a good battle shonen, I'll read it.
Yeah. We in this space specifically, we have to support each other, because just going back to what we said at the beginning of this episode, this isn't our culture. So if we want to exist in the space and make content in the space, we have to support each other and the things that are being created, that are being influenced by it.
Our own culture.
You write a manga, Antoine. I can see you writing something good.
I used to want to like actually like design something like that. As far as like the storytelling, I don't know, but I wanted to like.
I got you. Me and Ryan got you on the story. Just draw.
I sure do need this. That book that I was working on, I sure do want to get back into it.
We got you on the story. Just draw.
Yeah.
He gonna draw himself as the main character.
Y'all gonna be mad.
As long as hey, look, as long as you don't get mad about what we do to you.
Not y'all gonna kill me in the first episode like Chris Brown.
We might
do it like a comic got killed.
We might reincarnate you. We might truck coon you and end up somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But did anybody else, did you guys have any other talking points that you wanted to discuss?
They dropped the ball with Yusuke. Sage brought it up, and not enough folks know about Yusuke.
I tried watching it, and I couldn't get into it. I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't get into it.
It had the potential to be so great, though. It had potential.
But I did try to watch it, and I couldn't get into it. So if there's nothing else, let's go ahead and shut this down. So one, I want to thank you both, Ryan and Antoine, for joining me on our third week of our Black History Month celebration, as well as another episode of the Blerd Mob podcast. Next, I want to thank everybody who was watching and listening to this episode. Shout out to everybody who was talking to us in the comments. Thanks for the discussion, the feedback. Yeah. Next week is the music industry. So
Galvin got to be here for that one because
he said that's the one he was looking forward to. So just go over the schedule one more time. So next week we will be doing our last episode for our Black History Month celebration. We will be discussing the music industry. It'll be Wednesday, February 28th, 2024 at 7 p.m. CST. If you didn't catch that, make sure you follow us on our social media platforms. We will be putting out a reminder on Monday. So you can find us on Instagram at the Blerd Mob Pod, Twitter at the Blerd Mob, and TikTok and Facebook at the Blerd Mob Podcast. Say said I'm so scared. Hey, we ended it with a bang though. So
don't let all five of us be on here.
Yo,
Ralph will have some opinions too.
Make sure y'all tune in. But if you are joining the conversation, or if you join midway, make sure you subscribe to us if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit that follow button if you're watching us on Twitch. And if you're watching us on Facebook Live, make sure you like the page and share the video. Like I said before, if you want to catch up on our previous episodes, make sure you check out our Linktree, linktr.ee/the Blerd Mob Pod releases. And make sure you get caught up on our previous content before we drop our next episode. Also, if you're feeling so generous, make sure you send us a donation using our Ko-fi link, ko-fi.com/the Blerd Mob Podcast. It is also in our link trees, and it is also in the links in the descriptions of our social media bios. So, as y'all saw, Antoine phone or whatever he was recording on went black screen. So he needs some help. He needs some milk.
Pennies a day can go a long way.
Say said, y'all Young Money versus Scared Me. Y'all get violent. Yo. I'm regulating. I'm gonna say this.
That was when we had Boogie in, right?
I'm gonna say this right now.
Support
to everybody who experienced the Young Money situation. We regulating. This is not our Black History Month discussion will not be turning into a versus Tuesday.
I'm just glad I had Boogie with me in that one. Shout out to Boogie because I knew I was finna get attacked.
And next week is not for attacking. Next week is not for
They're
attacking.
gonna do it anyway. They're gonna attack.
They are. They are.
Just let it ride out. That's how we get
No.
controversial.
No,
That's how we get the views.
I'll let it ride out to a point.
We hyping it up. What if it's all peaceful? What if we all agree?
I mean, it
Unicorns,
might
rainbows.
be. The point is that if you've tuned into our previous episodes, even when the Mob Awards, when we got to the music section, you guys know we have some very strong opinions when it comes to music. So if all 5 of us show up, it's going to be an interesting discussion regardless. What I'm saying is this is not finna turn into a versus Tuesday. That's all I'm saying.
What folks don't know is this is all we did in college. This is all we did in college.
We just doing it in front of a camera now.
Mm-hmm.
But with all that being said, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Antoine. Thank you, everybody who's watching, listening. We'll see you guys next week. And this is the Mob checking out. Peace.
Hands up. If you love him where you at, stand 10 toes down. Sure, they ain't no looking mad. You can let them haters hate when they enter while I'm smiling. I just tell them life's great. Like gravy. If you love him where